Hello, welcome back to the Bare Threads. This is a sewing video. So I have made the Deer and Doe Sirocco jumpsuit, playsuit thing, the one with the short legs. I think this is my first Deer and Doe pattern and I liked it. It was an easy one to follow. Pretty much the entire pattern was easy to follow. I did still manage to muck it all up and get it wrong, but that was entirely my fault. The pattern is a short-sleeved jumpsuit, or you could call it a playsuit or a romper, I guess. And then it does have the option to have full-length legs or shorts. I did worry that the shorts were going to be super short, but actually I'm kind of okay. They're kind of just long enough for me to feel comfortable in them, so they're okay. So it has the bodice part that has some darts, it has a waistband, and then it has the legs, and then it has inseam pockets. And it has the little short sleeves, and then it has the like neckband. There is no fastening, so to get it on and off you do have to climb in through the neck hole, which is part of the problem. So I wouldn't say that this was a complete failure, but it was definitely not a complete success. I don't think it's going to be wearable, so I guess it is a failure. There's a couple of issues that I've had. So when I was sewing it all together, I mean, this is nothing to do with whether it was a success or not, it was just a real irritation that I was sewing the pocket parts onto the legs, and then when I joined the legs together at the crotch seam, and then I thought that I had accidentally cut out two left legs somehow, and then I realised I hadn't done that, but what I had done is I just sewn the pocket to the wrong side of one of the legs. And it's just because the right and wrong sides of my fabric are just the same. It's just this really nice blue colour, but it's just the same front and back. So it's really hard to tell the wrong side from the right side. So I had to unpick loads of my work, and it was really irritating. It made it take so much longer. And then it wasn't as neat the second time around, and I was kicking myself. That wasn't the fault of the pattern. That was me, entirely me. I also made another mistake when I was sewing it, in that I sewed... So you leave open the side seams of the bodice, the waistband and the legs, and then you are supposed to sew it, attach them all together, and then sew the side seams at the end so that you can go all the way down. I just didn't read it properly, and I think I left open the side seam of the bodice and didn't understand why, but then I just naturally sewed up the side seam of the legs, and so I couldn't bring myself to unpick anymore. So I just did the side seam of the waist and the bodice, and then I just attached them. So it's probably made it like a little bit lumpier on the side seam, and they might not line up quite as neatly, but I don't think it really caused any construction problems really. Just maybe not quite as smooth a finish that you would get. So those were my mistakes. In terms of the problem with the garment, so there's two things. One that makes it basically unwearable for me is that the front rise, or possibly just the whole rise, is too short, and so it just rides up. And so I need to, I think, just add on an extra inch at the top of the shorts or trouser section before attaching onto the waistband. I don't think I need to move the waistband down. I think it needs to move up essentially. But it's just really uncomfortable. I think I'd just be like readjusting myself constantly, and it just wouldn't be enjoyable to wear, so that basically makes it unwearable, which is very frustrating. And then the other issue is, because you have to climb inside the neckline and pull it up over your like hips and bum, it's really struggling to get on. I cut out a size 38 in the bodice and a 40 in the shorts and the waistband, and that seemed to blend together really fine. I will say that there is darting in the top, and the darting obviously is to add shape. There's also some on back as well, and it just seems to create too much space in the top half for me, and I almost felt like I could even drop down another size in the top, but then that will make it even harder to get on and off. But I think the real problem is that the waistband is size 40, and that's really where it's having to do a lot of the tugging on and off rather than the bodice. And I just think the fabric is probably not stretchy enough. So the pattern calls for fabric that is at least 60% or has at least 60% stretch. This is a Ponte fabric from Minerva, and on the website it says 60% stretch. I think that maybe it has 60% stretch, maybe it's not quite that much, but maybe I just need more. But I really like the fabric, and I like the weight of it, and it's a little bit thicker, and I really love the colour as well, but obviously the weight of the fabric, it's nice and thick, and I just think it lends itself well to something like this. And also it's really easy to work with and really easy to sew. So I do really like the fabric, but if I want something stretchier, I don't think I can find it in a Ponte. And so I think I would have to go for a lighter weight fabric, like just a jersey fabric. And then I think it will be potentially a little bit harder to sew, but also I think it might be a little bit clingier, and then that might not be the look I want to go for on the bottom half in particular. If I could just do the stretchier fabric up top and then the bottoms be a Ponte, that could work. If I did the waistband in the stretchier fabric, that could work, but I don't know whether that would give me enough stretch to get on and off. I think it is the waistband in particular that needs to be stretchier. So when I pulled it on and off, there was a lot of tugging that had to happen, and then stitches just got ripped, and I had to re-sew to there was just holes around the waistband, so I had to re-sew it together and reinforce it, but I'd be doing that every single time I wore it, which would just be irritating. So those are the two issues, but they're kind of insurmountable at the moment, and I'm not really sure what to do with this now. Like, what do you do with a finished garment that doesn't fit and you can't really repair? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you do with stuff like this. Do you just scrap it and turn it into smaller pieces to use as like scraps and remnants, or do you try and fix it, or what? I mean, I could cut off the bodice part and try and make the bottom, maybe just the waistband. Maybe if I just put the waistband on in a different fabric, would that work? Does anyone know? If anyone's made the Sirocco, please let me know if you think that just adding a waistband of a different fabric would actually solve part of the problem. I think the other problem of the rise would still have to be addressed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you next time.